Well, let's get to our top story, and that's the NCP National Executive Meet that was held by Sharad Pawar has drawn sharp criticism from Ajit Pawar's faction, which has said that they had no legal sanctity. And Sharad Pawar has written to the election body objecting to his nephew Ajit Pawar's claim when it comes to the party symbol or the party's name without.
That's right. The meet ratified the expulsion of 9 rebel MLAs who took oath as ministers in the ruling alliance, besides Praful Patel, Sunil Tatkare and SR Kohli, who have all sided with the rebels. All 27 state units of the party with Sharad Pawar. That's what the resounding message there was by the leaders who attended that all-important meet called by Sharad Pawar.
Right, while Ajit Pawar faction has said that the dispute on who represents the real NCP is within the exclusive jurisdiction of the Election Commission. Till it is decided, no one can call for any sort of meeting, is what was said by the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Ajit Pawar. On the other side, we also have Devendra Fadnavis, who met with Chief Minister Eknath Shinde at his official residence late last night.
That's right, and the big focus was on cabinet expansion, and also there are rumours and talks of Shiv Sena MLAs being anxious with the entry of Ajit Pawar and his MLAs. And well, let's also listen in to Sharad Pawar as to what he had to say. He said that I'm still effective, taking on that jibe from his nephew that he should retire.
अजीत पवार को नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट नियुक्त किया है 30 तारीख को।
किसी ने कुछ कहा मुझे मालूम नहीं। अब तो मुझे एक बात पक्की है कि राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी का मैं प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। दूसरा किसी ने अपने नाम पर स्टेटमेंट दे दिया, कुछ बात कही, तो बात कह सकते हैं, इसमें कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं, कोई सच्चाई नहीं है।
अजीत पवार ने आप पर पर्सनल अटैक करके आपकी उम्र पर सवाल उठाया है, कहा है आप इस्तीफा देते हैं फिर इस्तीफा वापस ले लेते हैं। जनरल शरद पवार को इस तरह से पर्सनल अटैक पर आप क्या कहेंगे? आप 82 साल के हो गए। Now I work more effectively. Whether 82 or 92.
Now, has Ajit Pawar laid down all his cards on the table? Well, just not yet, is what Chhagan Bhujbal has to say, Vedant.
That's right. Listen to this exclusive interview by my colleague Sohit Mishra.
शपथ विधि के अगले दिन आप लोगों ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की, हम वहीं पर सह्याद्री में मौजूद थे। तब जब पूछा गया कि पार्टी का अध्यक्ष कौन, तब अजीत दादा ने ही कहा शरद पवार। लेकिन बाद में हमें पता चलता है कि 30 तारीख को ही शरद पवार जी को पार्टी के अध्यक्ष पद से निकालने का फैसला जो है लिया गया, चुनाव आयोग को भेजा गया। लेकिन इसके बावजूद कल भी जो बैठक हुई उसमें सबसे बड़ी तस्वीर उनकी ही थी। तो इसे किस तरह से समझा जाए?
2 सवाल पूछ रहे एक साथ। उस समय जो है शायद अजीत पवार चाहते थे कि सारे पत्ते जो है हम खोल ना दे। क्यों खोले? समय आने पर जो मालूम पड़ेगा सबको कि क्या हुआ है। और कल भी जो है मैंने खुद कहा था कि भाई ठीक है, जो हुआ से हुआ, मगर आज भी हम पवार साहब की इज्जत करना चाहते हैं, उनको सम्मान देना चाहते हैं, इसलिए उनकी तस्वीर लगाओ। हमने लगाया और कल मेरे भाषण में भी हमने कहा कि वो हमारे गुरु है, नेता है, मगर जो उनके इर्द गिर्द जो लोग जमा हुए हैं, जिनकी वजह से जो है कई सारे पहले भी घटनाएं घटी है, ये जो नहीं होनी थी, बीजेपी के साथ बार बार चर्चा करना जाने का तय होना और फिर पीछे हटना, क्या ये सब जो हुआ एक बार नहीं हुआ, कई बार हुआ। 2014 से यही जारी है हमारे साथ। फिर भी मैंने कहा कि ठीक है, जो है हम सब भूल कर आगे चलते हैं। अब करें साहब का हम सम्मान रखें, अब क्या करें? साहब बोल रहे मेरा फोटो ने तस्वीर मत लगाओ, और जिनको कुछ मालूम नहीं कि 91 से छगन भुजबल कैसे उनके साथ खड़ा होकर लड़ रहा, कांग्रेस से निकाला गया, तब में कांग्रेस का विरोधी पक्ष नेता था, कांग्रेस के माध्यम से कांग्रेस वर्किंग कमेटी में मेंबर था। मैं पहला आदमी था कि मैं पवार साहब के जाऊँ। मैंने कहा जैसे कि मेरे जो गवर्नमेंट का निवास था वहीं जो है इस पार्टी का जन्म हुआ। तो बात यह है कि तब से और इतना लड़ा उन सबके सामने में। जब विरोधी पार्टी है तो हमारा काम जो है लड़ना, पूरी ताकत से हम लड़े। हमने कई सारे लोगों को क्या कहे कि हमारे घर के ऊपर हमला हुआ, बाल बाल बचे, एक बार नहीं कई बार। हमारे भाषण से कई बार लोग हर्ट भी हुए। उसकी भुगतान भी हमको देनी पड़ी।
बिल्कुल
हमने पार्टी के लिए करना था, क्योंकि जब तक वो करेंगे नहीं हमारी पार्टी आगे नहीं बढ़ेगी। हम गोल गोल बात नहीं करते रहे कभी।
Now, as the raging tussle that's between rival factions of the NCP plays out in Maharashtra, Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis met with Chief Minister Eknath Shinde at his official residence at this meeting that took place late last night. What really happened during that meeting, Vedant?
Well, as per sources, Divya, Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis discussed a power-sharing arrangement as a delay in cabinet expansion is making the MLAs, particularly from the Shiv Sena faction, restless.
Well, of course, they are, very restless regarding that delay when it comes to the expansion of the cabinet. And this came hours after the Shinde camp refuted the reports that its MLAs had been uncomfortable with Ajit Pawar's entry into Maharashtra's ruling coalition.
In fact, the party said that Eknath Shinde has no plans of stepping down as Chief Minister.
To remember, of course, we had Ajit Pawar talk about how he does want to become Chief Minister one day.
That's right. And now Sohit is joining us live on the phone line. Well, Sohit, there have been talks and reports of, Shiv Sena MLAs being anxious over the entry of Ajit Pawar and his rebel MLAs into the government. And of course, there are many MLAs who are awaiting awaiting to become ministers as well. So take us to the inside story of what really happened in that late night meeting yesterday.
Well, first of all, yes, Vedant, there are several who are, what they use the word is on alert mode. Now, remember, I interviewed Sanjay Shirsat yesterday. He's a Shiv Sena MLA and one of the MLAs who thinks so that they will be getting a cabinet ministry. And we should use that interview too, in which he has said that, yes, after Ajit Pawar has come, we are all on alert mode because we had to face a lot of issues post-2019 because of him. And we also were a bit upset. But then we reached out to Eknath Shinde where he claimed that he'll take care of everything and now no one is upset. So he has on camera accepted that people were not happy with what has happened. But since Eknath Shinde has given them assurances, now Eknath Shinde also spoke to Devendra Fadnavis last night where they have discussed. And the same MLA told me that very soon there will be a new cabinet expansion where we will be seeing more ministers from the BJP as well as the Shiv Sena camp who will get into the ministry. Now remember that when people in large number come with you, the MLA, you would have given them a lot of promises and that's the reason they decided to switch sides. And if you don't fulfill the promises, if the MLA can switch side once, they can switch side again. And then Eknath Shinde also knows and even Fadnavis has an idea about that. And that's why late night meeting happened where they have discussed how to take this ahead and how to ensure everyone should be together. And regarding the same, now after the meeting, we would soon see a new cabinet expansion. Let us tell our viewers that as well. And we would actually see this happening this in the next 3-4 days, or maybe I say ahead of the monsoon session, in which we might see more of the MLAs becoming ministers, through which both BJP and Shiv Sena top leaders would try to control the damage that might happen in their own faction after Ajit Pawar joined the government.
Right. Thank you so much, Sohit, for getting us those details. So we will keep tracking the story, coming back to him for more on that. Moving on from Maharashtra now, we're moving on to the Prime Minister who's going to be visiting 4 states over the next 48 hours. The Prime Minister will be in Chhattisgarh, in Uttar Pradesh, in Telangana, as well as in Rajasthan. And lots expected over the next 48 hours, including inaugurations of 5 national highways and 2 Vande Bharat trains as well, Vedant.
That's right. The Prime Minister seems to be on the roll. Well, this ahead of elections in crucial states, and the focus really are big ticket projects. He will be in 5 cities in 36 hours and he will be unveiling 50 projects worth 50,000 crores in the 4 states, including poll-bound states of Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Rajasthan. Megha has more details.
4 states in 48 hours. Prime Minister is on a whirlwind tour of 3 poll-bound states and Uttar Pradesh starting today and tomorrow. The highlight of the hectic tour are the big ticket projects that the Prime Minister is inaugurating, a total of about 50 projects worth 50,000 crores in 5 different cities. Starting today from Raipur, where Prime Minister will be laying the foundation stone for various different projects, one of them being the Raipur-Visakhapatnam corridor. A key component as far as the development of these national highways is concerned are the 27 animal passes and 17 monkey canopies provided for unrestricted wildlife movement in the Udanti Wildlife Sanctuary, minimizing the impact of highway development on wildlife. The Prime Minister will then be travelling to Gorakhpur to attend a program at the Gita Press and flag off 3 Vande Bharat trains. The foundation stone of Gorakhpur railway station will also be laid. At the next stop, that is his own constituency in Varanasi, there he will be dedicating the Deen Dayal Upadhyay junction to a new line of dedicated freight corridor. Also, a 4-lane widening of National Highway 56 from Varanasi to Jaunpur will be unveiled, along with laying the foundation stone for the renovation of Manikarnika Ghat and Harishchandra Ghat. Also on 8th, Prime Minister will be touching down in Warangal to inaugurate the key sections of the Nagpur-Vijayawada corridor and lay the foundation stone of the 4-laning between Karimnagar and Warangal section of National Highway 563. At the final stop in Bikaner, the Prime Minister will dedicate various sections of Amritsar-Jamnagar Expressway to the public and lay the foundation stone for the redevelopment of Bikaner railway station. A unique interstate transmission line for the green energy corridor phase 1 will also be unveiled here.
And while the Gujarat High Court will pronounce a crucial judgment today on Rahul Gandhi's plea seeking stay on his conviction in the defamation case over the Modi surname remark.
Now, the Court of Justice will deliver that verdict at 11 o'clock this morning. If his conviction in the Modi surname case is stayed by the Gujarat High Court, it would pave the way for Rahul Gandhi's reinstatement as a member of Parliament. We have Sunil Prabhu joining us. Sunil, take us through the background of this case. What led to that conviction?
Well, this is a remark that was made in Kolar, and subsequently, as you remember, it was in the height of the political, campaign during 2019 that this entire statement was made. It wasn't, as you've heard, and a lot of debate has taken place on this. The fact of the matter is now that the Surat court had convicted Rahul Gandhi and given him a 2-year criminal sentence to him to jail. It's in that backdrop that the sentence has been kept in abeyance for his appeal, and when it was rejected by the Surat District Court, he has appealed to the next appropriate forum, that is the Gujarat High Court, which had reserved its verdict on the 2nd of May. Now today, the judgment is expected. If it does give a stay, it will be a reprieve for Rahul Gandhi and will help in his reinstatement as a member of Parliament from Wayanad constituency. But in case it doesn't, then the legal recourse of moving the Supreme Court will take place with Mr. Abhishek Singhvi moving the Supreme Court in this regard. So we'll have to wait and see how things play out when the judgment comes, whether it will be a reprieve or whether Rahul Gandhi will have to move the Supreme Court to get some kind of reprieve in terms of that sentence in which he has been convicted.
Right. Thank you so much, Sunil. All eyes on that crucial verdict that will be out later today at 11 o'clock this morning. So 2 hours from now is when we'll know.
That's right. Time for a short break. News and updates continue on the other side. And if you have not downloaded our NDTV app, do it now for all the latest news and developments. Welcome back. Pro-Khalistani groups have planned protests tomorrow in Canada's Toronto after the assassination of Canada-based Khalistani Tiger Force Chief Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Now, Nijjar, remember, was one of India's most wanted terrorists who carried a cash reward of rupees 10 lakh on his head, and he was shot dead outside a Gurudwara in Canada last month.
A fraction of the Khalistan supporters have issued threats to officials of the Indian consulate, and the Indian government has raised a serious concern when it comes to the Canadian federal government, and reassurances have been given from the highest level, which includes the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. To get more details on this, we have our colleague Vikram joining us from Toronto, who has the very latest.
Like this one supporting Khalistan movement is a common sight here in Toronto. And now there's another rally which is being organized supporting Khalistan movement on 8th of July. This comes after the assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Khalistani leader who was also on the wanted list of NIA. The Khalistani supporters allege that he was assassinated by Indian agencies, and that's the reason they want to organize this rally and gather more strength for this movement. Whereas India alleges that Canada is being too soft on Khalistan movement and terrorism. But for the first time in recent years, Canadian Prime Minister has come out and said that Canada is not soft on terrorism. Rather, they would try and make sure that the Indian diplomats are safe and their interest is protected here in Canada. Now all eyes are set on 8th of July, how big this rally would be and what would Canada's be response for this rally, and what about the safety of Indian High Commission and the officials working there. That's the big question. And also the divide between Khalistani supporters and Indian supporters is growing here in Canada, as is the population here in Canada. So how would it translate into relationships between India and Canada? That's another very important question. Of late, it's been seen that Canada is keen on improving their diplomatic relations with India. In Toronto, Vikram Chaudhary for NDTV.
Moving on now, the United Kingdom's National Security Advisor is here in India and will be meeting with Ajit Pawar. And India is expected to raise the question of the Khalistan issue with Tim Barrow.
That's right, and this comes in the backdrop of pro-Khalistani groups having issued a threat to India's High Commissioner in the UK as well. Maha Siddiqui is now joining us live on the phone line. Maha, it's very significant that in the backdrop of pro-Khalistan activities resurfacing in the UK as well, this meet becomes even more significant.
Absolutely, Vedant. And when Tim Barrow meets Ajit Doval, then the question, as you all have mentioned, of Khalistan is definitely going to come up. India is going to take up this issue. This is because, remember, this is not the first time that this issue has become so big between the two countries. But this time it's more serious because of the fact that the posters on social media that have been floated by pro-Khalistan groups have the picture of India's High Commissioner to London, Vikram Doraiswamy, and some other officials of the Indian High Commission as well. This is a clear and direct threat that has been rolled out to them, to which the UK Foreign Secretary has already responded, saying that such threats will be taken care of in the sense that security is going to be provided to the diplomats. Just like the Canadian side has said that under the Vienna Convention, it is the responsibility of the host country to provide adequate security. But with the UK specifically, Vedant and Divya, if you go back, you would remember that there was an attempt at the Indian High Commission not too long ago where pro-Khalistan groups tried to bring down the Indian tricolour as well. And after that violent protest, questions were raised about the lax security at the Indian High Commission in London, after which in a response here in India, India had reduced the security outside the UK High Commissioner's residence in Delhi, after which the UK had come on record to state that the security has been beefed up at the Indian High Commission and that diplomats' safety will be taken care of. Meanwhile, as we are seeing new threats emerge, when Ajit Doval meets Tim Barrow, this issue of Khalistan and the fact that India has said, as Jaishankar has said, that space should not be provided to them for airing their secessionist views is also going to be taken up.
Right. Thank you so much, Maha, for joining us with those details. National Security Advisor Ajit Pawar will be meeting his UK counterpart Tim Barrow at the Sardar Patel Bhavan today in the national capital.
Well, short break now. News and updates will continue on the other side. Do download our NDTV app for the latest news.
Welcome back. Now, after the West Bengal governor lashed out at the state election commissioner, the Trinamool Congress has hit back, saying his expertise is required in Manipur. The governor and the state government have been at loggerheads over several issues pertaining to the panchayat elections in West Bengal. On Thursday, the West Bengal governor alleged that the state election commissioner, Mr. Sena, has failed in discharging his duties during the panchayat elections, and Mr. Sena is a former bureaucrat just like the governor. The Trinamool Congress's Abhishek Banerjee hit back at the governor with sarcasm. I think the governor as a person is extremely competent, wise and intelligent, and I should not be commenting on what he should say and what he should not say. Let's just listen in to what Abhishek Banerjee had to say.
We put up a fence to guard the crops. We put up a chain. We put a chain, not taking chain. What do we do when the fence itself eats up the crops? If democracy is dead, during these panchayat elections, who is the killer? Who is the killer? Who is the killer? Will the State Election Commissioner SEC please raise his hand? You should know who are the killers.
Central government that it is the need of the hour that we should take cognizance of the intellect that the governor of West Bengal has and immediately send him to Manipur. Immediately send him to states like Madhya Pradesh. A man of such intellect, a man of such wisdom, a man of such sheer understanding of democratic values and constitution is needed more at this time in the double engine government of Manipur, not in Bengal.
Moving on to news from Tamil Nadu now, and Tamil Nadu has emerged number one in the export of electronic goods, accounting for $5.3 billion exports at nearly 23% of the total electronic exports from the country. And my colleague Sam Daniel spoke to the State Industries Minister. Let's just listen in to what he had to say.
Tamil Nadu has ranked number one on export of electronic goods last year, crossing $5.3 billion out of $23.5 billion across India. Joining us now, Tamil Nadu's Industries Minister, Mr. T.R.B. Raja. Thank you very much for your time. This is more than double the growth in the last 1 year. From third rank, the state has emerged number one. What made this possible and how important is this for Tamil Nadu?
Okay, this is just the beginning, right? And what we're going to see is more such rapid growth in the very near future, because we are looking at targeting some of the biggest component manufacturers, and I do think we've hit about 15 to 20% of our intended target. In the next 2 years, I do see big numbers coming in. So I'm going to see some really good component manufacturers coming into Tamil Nadu. And once that happens, this number is definitely going to go up very rapidly. To add to that, we are also bringing in a lot of plug-and-play facilities, right? So this is going to increase the speed at which manufacturers are going to set up. So once the speed increases, automatically you're going to have some really good numbers coming up very, very soon.
In terms of the numbers, $3.73 billion from export of mobile phones from Tamil Nadu. With Foxconn in the state manufacturing iPhones, do you think phones are turning into a game changer for the state?
See, Tamil Nadu has been the auto capital first, right? So we've been the auto capital. We are now the EV capital. We are the textile capital. And we have for longest time been the electronics capital also, but the numbers are just starting to show up, right? You don't know the Nokia story. We had one of the front runners then. We're going to have many more coming in also. Some of the new manufacturers are also coming in, setting up shop. We did have one of the biggest come in yesterday. And I do see the entire supply chain being shifted. China's loss again is going to be China's profit, and I do see the market moving towards India and more towards Chennai, Tamil Nadu, because of the excellent infrastructure that's available here.
Specifically, what are the factors that work in favor of Tamil Nadu in the electronic sector?
Talent. It's talent. It's a stable government. It's policy continuity among governments. It's a fantastic Chief Minister that we have, who's always on the ground. He's connected to the industry, and we deliver on our promises, right? Tamil Nadu has a very, very good name when it comes to delivering your incentives. Providing incentives on MOUs is a thing, but then delivering on it is a totally different thing, and that is where I think Tamil Nadu is scoring big time. And
Micron, which was expected to make investments in Tamil Nadu, chose to invest in Gujarat. Some would say it's a loss for Tamil Nadu. What went wrong?
We are not a desperate state, right? Why would you invest 70% and give the tag to somebody else? How much did the union give? 50%? How much did the state give? 20%? And how much did the company, the investor invest? 30%. You call that investment? And how many people of your state have grown because of that investment coming in? How many people in your state have had a better life due to that investment coming into the state? I think that is what the Dravidian model of our Honorable Chief Minister will ensure. Yes, and that is what we are after.
Okay. Thank you so much, Raja, for your time. That was Mr. T.R.B. Raja, Tamil Nadu Industries Minister, talking to us in Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find the TV.
Time to get to international news now, and the US Treasury Secretary Yellen has arrived in Beijing for meetings with Chinese leaders as part of efforts to revive relations that are strained by disputes about technology, security and other irritants as well. We seek a healthy economic competition that benefits American workers and firms in order to collaborate on global challenges, is what Yellen put out on Twitter. And on Yellen's visit, China's state media has gone on to say the nature of the China-US economic and trade relationship is mutually beneficial and win-win. There will be no winners in a trade war or decoupling. Well, according to Treasury officials, Yellen wouldn't meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, but Yellen has reached China for that visit on the heels of the Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit, who met with Xi Jinping last month in the highest level US visit to Beijing in the last 5 years. And here is what was put out. This is US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's visit to China is an implementation of the important consensus reached by the leaders of both countries in Bali, and a specific measure for strengthening bilateral communication in fiscal and financial sectors. The nature of the China-US economic as well as trade relationship is mutually beneficial and win-win. There will be no winners in a trade war or decoupling. We hope that the US side can create a sound environment for the healthy development of the China-US economic and trade relationship and promote win-win cooperation through concrete actions, is what was put out by the Chinese side. Now, Twitter is threatening legal action against the Meta platforms over its new Threads platform. In a letter that has been sent to Facebook's parent CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, by the lawyer of Twitter, Twitter intends to strictly enforce its intellectual property rights and demands that Meta take steps to stop using any trade secrets of Twitter or any other highly confidential information, is what Twitter's lawyer has put out in that letter. Meta launched Threads on Wednesday as the social media firm looks to take on Elon Musk's Twitter by taking advantage of Instagram's billions of users. Within a few hours of the launch, about 30 million users had signed up for Threads.
I'm not a lawyer, but what I would say is I wouldn't take the pronouncements of Elon Musk's Twitter seriously. If now, as a journalist, you email their press office, you receive a little poo emoji as your response. So I think Elon Musk should be quite careful about the way he thinks about throwing legal threats around. It's quite difficult to legally protect the idea of text in a news feed, particularly as Facebook itself did a news feed a long time ago, right? So text in a feed and being able to follow other people's text updates is quite hard to legally protect. So I think Twitter is being quite silly there, but then it's led by a clown. So what do you expect? These aspects are quite difficult to copyright. An interesting point to be made, for instance, about the retweet functionality on Twitter. It wasn't invented as an idea by Twitter. It was invented by users. The whole, a lot of the ways Twitter works happened because users started to use the site in a certain way, way back in 2009, 2010. Elon Musk's great issue is, one, he's never actually invented anything himself. He tends to buy into companies that have invented things. Lots of people don't realize that Elon Musk is not the founder of Tesla, was not the founder of PayPal, and of course is not the founder of Twitter. And he doesn't really understand what makes social networks good. What makes them good is the people on them, not really the structure of them. For instance, before Facebook, there was a thing called Friendster. That could potentially have been what Facebook is now, but it wasn't because it didn't evolve quickly enough. And frankly, as well, Elon Musk doesn't really have the money to take Facebook on in a legal fight. Facebook has very big, Meta, as we must call it now, has very big and deep pockets. So I would predict, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I suspect that this legal action will either never happen or be so long running that you and I could be talking about it in 10 years.
Now, the Secretary General of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, stated on Thursday in Brussels that Sweden's membership is within reach but didn't confirm any breakthroughs from the day's discussions. This comes a day after US President Joe Biden reiterated his support for Sweden to join NATO. His comments come after senior officials from Sweden and Turkey arrived at NATO headquarters on Thursday to examine the Turkish president, Erdogan's objections to the Nordic countries joining the military alliance and to see what more, if anything, could be done to break that deadlock.
Today, we reaffirmed that Sweden's membership is within reach, and that ratification of Sweden's membership does not mean the end of cooperation with Turkey. Far from it, as Finland's continuing engagement here today shows. On Monday in Vilnius, I will convene a meeting with President Erdogan and Prime Minister Kristersson as the next step in this process.
We need to definitely ask you about Shah Rukh Khan. There was speculation about him going through this nose surgery in the United States. Did that actually happen?
Well, sources have confirmed NDTV that no such nose job was performed, and that's why there were a lot of paparazzi when he landed in Mumbai, and they were quite busy tracking him, and he was mobbed by cameras at the airport. But definitely, as evident in the shots, no nose job is visible there. On the other hand, daughter Suhana was spotted after a movie date. So here's a roundup of keeping up with the Khans.
The paparazzi have been keeping up with the Khans this week. Shah Rukh Khan flew home from the US and there were more than the usual number of cameras waiting for him at Mumbai airport. A report had claimed that the actor had to get nose surgery after an injury while shooting abroad. Sources close to SRK later denied this. Tabiyat kaisi hai? The paparazzi asked SRK as he exited the airport. Shah Rukh Khan didn't answer, but his nose looked just fine. Also spotted at the airport was Shah Rukh Khan's wife Gauri with their younger son Abram. Gauri was stylishly dressed in a blue dress and black jacket. The Khans were then driven home to their Mumbai bungalow Mannat in separate cars. Earlier this week, Shah Rukh and Gauri's daughter Suhana Khan was spotted catching a movie with best friend Shania Kapoor. They were joined by Shania's brother Jahan. Suhana will soon make her debut in Zoya Akhtar's The Archies, a Desi version of the Riverdale gang in which Suhana plays Veronica.
Well, that was keeping up with the Khans. But moving on, we'll also talk about what is releasing this week. There's Blind, Sonam Kapoor's Blind, and then there's Niyat and Tarla as well, where Huma Qureshi plays the iconic home chef Tarla Dalal, Vedant.
And Arun, well, you were one of the lucky few to actually visit Salim's, one of my favorites certainly. What was the experience like there? And talk to us about that chat you had with Huma and of course the sumptuous food, the meal there as well.
Well, as a vegetarian, I wasn't too excited, but then I got to know that they have introduced Batata Musallam, which is a vegetarian version of Murg Musallam, which I had relished and absolutely loved it. On the other hand, of course, I chatted with Huma Qureshi and I'm going to show you a glimpse of that chat as well. Here we go.
I come from a legacy of like food. So my dad's been running this Salim's for now 1977, the place where you're sitting actually. He inherited this from my grandfather, which used to be a butcher's shop. And then in 77 was the first time he set up the restaurant over here. And now of course we have 6 branches all over Delhi, NCR, and like, you know, everyone, this is the one place where everyone
I love how smooth this plug-in was.
I mean, like, of course. What, do you think we're here to promote Tarla? No. I'm actually
You are mistaken.
You are mistaken. We're here to sell some kebabs. If you take my name, you'll get 50% discount.
Apply that coupon code. It's called Huma Tarla. No, but as you mentioned, it was 1977 when this was started.
Yeah.
And Tarla ji launched her book in 1974.
Yes.
The era was same, the 70s.
Pretty much. And actually Ashwini, my producer Ashwini Tiwari, she suggested, she's like, you know what, you guys should actually do this. And I spoke to dad, and my dad saw the trailer and he was like, he first called me and said, hey, I love your trailer, I can't recognize you. And then he was like, ye Batata Musallam hai kya? Because there's a line in the trailer saying, maine Batata Musallam aise banaya.
Right.
So maine explained ki, Papa, aapne 77 mein shuru kiya tha, and then you started Salim, and she started her career in 74. But what Tarla ji stood for is diametrically the opposite of Salim's Mughlai food, which is she would take a Murg Musallam and she would take out the chicken from it and put like batata, which is potato.
Yeah.
And it reached like a much wider audience. And he was like, hey, you know what? We have a lot of like people coming in who are vegetarians who normally have the paneer or the dal makhani and all of that.
Yeah.
People like you. So, I mean, why not? I mean, we'll be catering to a much wider audience. And now Batata Musallam is very much part of our menu.
And as your dad said, it was tough to recognize you in that trailer.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot went into that other than prosthetics.
Actually, there were no prosthetics, so that was
Really?
the thing. Yeah. So we wanted to do prosthetic, but it was just not turning out to be feasible because we were shooting last year in the summer, and all the cooking and the heat and then he was like, you know, if we put our nose or we change,
It would melt.
It would start melting, and then we would waste a lot of time on set. So what do we do? So he came up with this idea that why don't we do something with your teeth, because her front two teeth were slightly bigger than mine. So we actually got 2 pieces made. One was the front 2 teeth, which is slightly more toothy, as they say. And the other was a larger piece that I would wear here on my upper jaw, which made this part of my face like kind of become slightly broader. Because Tarla ma'am had like a heart-shaped face to get that effect. And when we did that, it just didn't look like me at all. And it looks like we've done a lot more work, but honestly it was that. And of course I play from 20 to 50. So in the latter part of her journey, like we just put another piece here, so this part of my face just kind of sagged. So little hacks I'm telling you, don't try it at home.
So the biopic Tarla is out today. It's on OTT. Where can we find it, Arun?
Well, it's on Z5. That's an OTT release. Hence, you'll see it on Z5. And Huma was mentioning that, you know, somewhere there's no pressure of a Friday release when it's on releasing on OTT. Of course, there's no box office collection. So that's, of course, an advantage for an actor. And then you get to show the arc of a character when you are on OTT. So, of course, I'm definitely excited to watch Tarla. And I'll get you more updates next Friday.
Absolutely. And there are more movies like Arun was mentioning, including Blind of Sonam Kapoor. So I think without you and I can go watch that.
Well, absolutely. The moment we get done with our crazy shifts here, of course. And Arun, thanks so much.
Count me in, guys. Please
totally,
take me along.
Absolutely. Hook us up with the tickets, Arun.
All right, so Arun there with the wrap from the entertainment world. We'll continue to track all the latest for you on that. Time for a short break. News and updates continue on the other side.
In case you don't have our NDTV app, you can download it now. It's available on iOS as well as Android.